Yes, we're online. Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to this webinar, 3 Ways to Design the Life of Your Dreams. I'm very excited to have this time so many coaches on board. As you see, I drew a heart for you guys just out of pure love. And until we wait, till everybody's signed up, I just want to go briefly through who's a part of this webinar. First of all, of course, me. My name is Kai Christen. I'm the founder of the Lifestyle Design Convention and a sales coach, a leadership coach, as well as you could call it life coach, kind of. And then we have Leila Salvadeh. Leila Salvadeh calls herself a light coach. What I love when I met Leila is that she combines art with coaching, and she has like so many different elements. You should really check out her webpage. It's called standinglight.com. Got it. And so she's traveling the world and helping people basically to find their inner light, their inner being, and bring that to the world, which I love. And then we have on board as well John Cooper, a good old friend of mine. We already did quite a few webinars together. John calls himself a social heartist. I met John probably 3 years ago at the 21 convention, a really cool event, especially for guys who want to grow in self-improvement, which was also actually the moment where I thought, like, I want to design an event myself. Of course, not exclusively for guys, but also for girls. And what I love about John is that maybe you guys have heard of Julien Blanc, the guy that is on CNN that had all this bad press and was really aggressive with women especially, and like try to control them, try to take stuff from them. And what I like about John is that he's so authentic in his way of communicating with people and with women especially, and the way he's giving his gift to the world is just inspiring, and that's the reason why he's on board today. And then we have Josh Levent. He should unmute himself, I think. Josh Levent was president of ISAC New Zealand. He is a TEDx speaker, and he gave an amazing talk, you should Google it, about emotional intelligence. And he is like a walking book of self-improvement. Ask him anything and he will have like the perfect answer to it. So it's you can have hour-long talks, inspirational talks with him. So I love that about him, and he's also traveling a lot. And yeah, that's the reason why he's on board today. And yeah, this was actually a webinar when I started thinking about it. So many ideas came to my head about like what I want to talk about. So I'm really excited to do that. I think we'll roll with around 60, maybe 90, maybe even 2 hours. We'll see how we feel like. It's really a spontaneous thing. And let me get right into it. Before we start though, you see on the right side of your screen, so it's like a normal Google Hangout, but on the right side of your screen you also have a chat window. That chat window is very, very important to you guys, because there you can actually ask us any question or give us any hint or whatever you would like to do. You can just type it in and we're going to see it, and I'm going to try my best, really try my best to answer or ask the people that are in this webinar all the questions that you guys have. I will try to be kind of a moderator and not to talk too much myself as I do right now. And let's keep this. Let's get this party started. Maybe you guys want to say a few words about yourselves, and I guess ladies first. We'll start with Leila.
Thank you, Kai. So yes, my website is called standinglight.com, and I just launched the website a few months ago. It's a lifestyle website that allows people globally to connect, share, and create through products, services, and philosophies that enlighten. And really the mission is to help people connect to their inner light and realize the understanding that we all have this light within us, and once we connect to it, we really can. It's your highest, it's your most positive expression, and expressing that into the world is what really will help you lead a light-filled life or create the lifestyle of your dreams. So through the products and services, as well as the philosophies that we share on the website, it's really missioned towards helping people understand that that concept. And then I also help people through nutrition connect that same concept. And what I'm working on and finalizing now is the Light Project, and it's through the Light Project where I will be sharing such philosophies at seminars like the Lifestyle Design Convention, and also at New Ways Center, which is a forward thinking center also in Switzerland, and then also taking it to New York.
Cool, thank you very much. Let's continue with John.
Yeah, because Josh has still got his microphone on mute, I think.
I think he's doing it on purpose.
Oh, I see, okay. It's tactical. Okay, well, you kind of explained me quite well. Thanks for that, Kai. Much love, brother. So I would say what I'm trying to do with my work is for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been infiltrating this community of pickup artists. And if people don't know about that, then surely, as you mentioned, the whole Julian thing came out, and he's like, you know, been tagged as the most hated man on the planet right now for what he was doing. But generally, though, there's a bit of a shadow. I would say the pickup industry is a bit of a shadow industry as far as I'm concerned, and it doesn't bring men and women together. I think it actually creates more separation with this kind of like command and conquer attitude towards, you know, interacting with the opposite sex. And what I'm trying to do is trying to get in there and actually kind of almost like subvert it, change it. And I like what Layla was saying about, you know, bringing your light. And I want to hear more what Layla has to say about that. I think is really good. That's what I'm kind of trying to get guys to do, is actually instead of putting on this act and wearing this mask and having this armor of this artillery, this arsenal of things to do in order to get to the woman, what I'm trying to do is like peel off the layers, so take off the armor, take off this mask, and actually get guys to bring their authentic light, which is I believe the vulnerability. So that light, my interpretation of that is like, yeah, it's like everyone has their own core vulnerable self, which they're frightened to bring to the world because they think people can hurt them. What I'm trying to do is encourage guys to get out there and actually bring that to people, and that's the highest form of strength, I believe, and that's the highest form of empowerment, when you can just bring your vulnerable core to people. So, yeah, I've been in this community for a while now, and I'm slowly starting to migrate men, and actually women are starting to join the group as well, which is good, and migrate these guys into what I'm creating, which is a whole new alternative community called social heartistry. So it's going from this acquisition frame of picking up girls to coming from the heart, which is actually a form of unconditionally giving and co-creation, and bringing that energy to the world. And from there, moving it on from just women to people and just communicating better with people in society. So that's the mission. It's a juicy one for me, but you know, that's what I'm doing in my work right now.
Cool, thank you very much. Maybe we'll have Josh next, if his microphone works.
There we go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so exciting to be here and to be with these 3 other cool panelists. So I think the key thing that I want to share about me is that I have kind of 3 big passions in life, and they're technology, entrepreneurship, and mind blank. There we go. Entrepreneurship and psychology. And the reason that I'm really passionate about those 3 things is because I find them extremely complex, and I'm just really curious, and I'm attracted to complexity. And I think when you put those 3 things together, you can really make a difference in the world. And I'm just going to say one more thing, which is I've been thinking a lot about in the last 1 or 2 years about the unconscious mind, and that's what I did the TED Talk about, the emotional brain, or the emotional intelligence, which is really about using your unconscious mind better. And I think that, you know, a lot of the time people say, you know, we only use 10% of our brain, and that's not physically true, but it's sort of it's a good metaphor, because our conscious mind is such a small part of our brain, and if we figure out how to use our unconscious mind, we can become much more powerful. And I actually just, when I think about that, and I think about the potential that's there in everybody to do so much more, I get really inspired because I think there's a huge power, a huge untapped power in the world, and the people that live in it. So that's kind of a big passion of mine is figuring out how do we tap into that. And I've just finished reading a book actually, which is called The Art of Learning, and he talks about how to become great. This guy was a world champion Tai Chi martial artist, as well as an international chess master, and he said that the way he became so masterful at two completely different disciplines is that he learned something, made it unconscious, and then learned the same thing at a deeper level, and then made that unconscious, so that he was able to do as much unconsciously as other people were struggling to do consciously, and that made him a powerful force in both of these sports. So I think that's what I'm trying to do, and I think I love helping other people do that as well. So a little bit about me.
Actually, Kai, can I just say something to that? Because I'm living in Hungary at the moment, and so I'm learning the language. And Hungarian is actually, they say it's the second or third most difficult language to learn. And I'm actually part of this school. It's what they do is I go into this room, I get put into an armchair, I get reclined back, I get headphones on with classical music playing, and they basically put my brain into into an alpha brainwave state. And what they do is they just like brainwash me with like hundreds of Hungarian words. But the idea that is just it goes deep into the unconscious, and there's like a higher retention of memory that way. It could all be nonsense, but you know, that's what they've been doing, and you know, that's how I've been learning Hungarian basically. Rain Man style, you know.
Did it work so far?
Yeah, it's worked. Oh, but hang on, Kai, I've got 1 sec, mate.
Yeah, all right, no problem. Okay, let's start with my first question that I had.
Okay, brilliant. Let me come down.
John, can you mute yourself? That would be awesome. Thank you. Okay, that already brings me to the first question, and I think we discussed it before, Josh. I think I want to ask you first that question, because I said in the beginning of this webinar I would like, since we all are kind of looking for what we want to do with our lives, right? And life is all about the journey, as they called it in London, really good YouTube channel. And I'm asking myself, so like we talked about this. My first question would be, what were your biggest reservation that you had before you actually started like actively designing, as we call it, the Lifestyle Design Convention, designing the life of your dreams, Josh?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the answer is I don't know if I really had any reservations. I think it was a slow process to figure out how to first of all what I wanted, because I think, you know, a lot of the time we just don't know what we want. So how can we go after if you don't know what we want? And then secondly, yeah, just figuring out how do you actually get what you want. And I think it started. I mean, you've just yesterday put online our interview on your channel, and I think I talk about it there as sort of the process of how I got into personal development. That's how it started, where I started really consciously thinking about what is it that I want out of life and how do I get it. And one of the things that I learned was that I'm someone who likes to live in the future. I really live in the future a lot, and what tends to happen then is I can get very focused on making lots of sacrifices in the present so I can achieve some idea of what I want to achieve in the future, and that can be very counterproductive, because, as you say, it's about the journey. So if you're not enjoying life right now, then you're selling yourself really short. And I think it's really important to figure out how to enjoy life in the present, and not just how to enjoy it, but also how to make it, you know, how to be healthy and feel wealthy and all that stuff in the present, because that's really all we have. So yeah, I think that was just a kind of a realization at some point, and over time I became better and better at asking myself, what am I doing now? Like, and when I tell myself, for example, you know, it'd be great if you could meditate once for an hour every day or something like that. And then I say, oh, I don't have time for that right now, so I'll do it next year, or maybe in a couple of years when, you know, I've got my other things sorted out, and when I've got, you know, a bit more money, I don't need to worry about work so much and all these other things. And it's just a lie, really. It's a way of kidding myself and cheating myself of being able to do that now. And if I can't find, if it's not important enough for me to do today, it will never become important enough, because my life isn't going to become less complicated. It's always going to become more complicated, and there's always going to be more things for me to deal with, because that's what happens as we get older. And that's an interesting realization, I think. Life gets more complicated progressively.
Yeah, how do you deal with that, man? Because that's something that I see. The more, like, I'm always busy, right? I always have stuff to do. I always have, like, the more I have these projects, Lifestyle Design Convention, my company with my friend Concoch, and as well as like the other obligations that I have, like, there is so much to do, right? So how do you keep the focus?
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question. Like, if I had an answer to that. I don't know. I don't know. Layla, do you have an answer to that?
Well, I think it's about having your ultimate mission, and once you have that, kind of aligning certain things that come in place in order to create that. And so I definitely think meditation is a big one for a lot of people. I mean, to the different. Am I on mute?
No.
Oh, okay. Because we've got a live person here, and they can't hear.
Yeah, probably she should turn off the connection. Then we will be faster.
Okay. Well, anyway, so, sorry, I just got thrown off.
You talked about the ultimate vision that you should have.
Yes.
And I could hear you clearly, so
okay.
It should be fine.
So as long as our live audience can hear us, I guess we're good. So I think meditation has come up so many times in the different circles that I've gone to, whether it be the Good Life Project camp or different seminars that I've gone to. A lot of people, some of the most successful people, really focus on meditation and integrating that into an integral part of their day. That's personally helped me a lot, because it clears all the static in the air that we have, and not just energetic wise, but really we've got such static thoughts sometimes of just fear and how am I going to do this or whatnot, and just taking, whether it be even just 5 minutes or a half hour, an hour a day, and just sitting down, aligning yourself with that mission, and getting clear and getting rid of all the static that is just constantly bombarding us on a daily basis. The stresses, the fears, the I can'ts, and just getting into a place of alignment with yourself, and then starting your day on that note. I think that's something that's really helped transform my own life.
Yeah.
I really like what you say about vision. I think that's it. I think if you know where your big picture vision is, then you will always find alignment. And I think the first time I really thought about my vision, it was something like 7 years ago, and I printed it out and I put it on my wall. And just seeing it, just even unconsciously every day, really helps direct your focus to the things that matter, and stops and takes your focus away from the things that don't matter. And that vision, at first, I think, it wasn't even necessarily the perfect vision. It wasn't even that inspiring, but it was just something to work towards, something that, well, yeah, that was inspiring, but that got me excited. But then I was happy to change it every year. I think every year I changed it a little bit, and now it's completely different. But I get, when I look at it now, it's very powerful. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm also someone who's a perfectionist. I think many of us, I know Kai, you are as well. We think, oh, we can't do this unless it's perfect, right? So maybe I can think about my vision, but I just can't get it perfect. It just doesn't matter at all if it's perfect or not. Like, you just need something, and then you live by that, and then you realize what you need to change, and then you change it, and that's fine.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Like, I think also what Jana wrote here in the comment is also true. Like, the older you get, the more like you can handle complexity. I think that's true. That's true very much too. And I think also but that's not an excuse, of course, not to do it when you're young. But what I found also is the ability to say no to things. Like, you see it so many times. So the more projects you have, the more you will interact with people, and people will come to you and ask you for things. And I'm not very good at saying no. So like I put on all these obligations that I had, and I think also to like be able to get over that, or not even get over that, but live with that fear, and by that maybe partly overcoming the fear of not being loved. I call it, like when you say no to people, right? You're scared of like, oh, what will people think of me? So I have that. For me, that's quite a big challenge, and I saw that when I actually said no, people respected me, and I could get back to business, to what you called before, Layla, the ultimate mission. And I think what you said, John, is very important. That I think it's not an ultimate mission. I think it always changes. John P. Morgan, a really cool coach, not the famous the famous finance guy, but you will find it on YouTube. He said, passion is not found, it is created. So it's like something that you actually work on proactively, and that will change from time to time. And I think then perfectionism comes into place. If you try to make it perfect, you just like overthink it, and you never put it on paper as you did, Josh. And I think that's really important, to have it like somewhere visual, where you see it every day, and also have the flexibility to change it, so to change it from time to time. And the more you work towards it, not the more you think about it only, but the more you work actively towards it, it will change, and the course of your life will change. It's like a river, right? It's not like the straight line through a continent or something, but it goes with the flow, as you call it so beautifully. So I think you just have to try out new things that are in line with your temporary vision, as I would call it, and it just gets sharper and sharper and sharper day by day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I really like this. Let's just how did you call it, John, before? Let's just jam it.
Jam it out. You jam it out.
Let's just jam it out. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe you have. Did you hear something, John, about it?
No. Can you summarize the last 5 minutes in 4 words?
It's gonna be really hard. But we talked about how important it is to have like a big picture in your life, right? A vision. And yeah, my question to you would be: do you have one?
My vision. I don't know, man. It changes. It kind of like slightly morphs each time, But I think I always have some kind of intention at all times. But I allow myself to kind of go off on tangents and create new realities with, But I don't know what you were talking about. But I did mention before that one thing that I kind of used as a bit of a, I don't know, a blueprint or a sigil, or whatever you want to call it. But I wrote a letter to myself from the future, and that's actually been quite powerful for me, even on an unconscious level, using and describing in that letter how I feel once I've arrived at that place, and using the emotions as the kind of the reflections of the intention that I've put out, if that makes sense.
Beautiful.
Actually, I've found that I've been manifesting that blueprint throughout the last 3 years, so yeah.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Like I think there are two elements to it. There's, on one hand, there's the thoughts that you have, and the more thoughts you have into a certain direction, the more it will manifest in the world. And at the same time, a lot of people use this as an excuse not to act. So the second very important thing is also to act upon whatever you decided to do, or like to see it's more to see opportunities that come along your way, and to actually act upon them.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a very, very, those two elements are very important. And I like what Chris wrote. Like he wrote also like that everything that matters basically, or the only real thing, is the moment. So I love that, because a lot of people say like, well, but now I'm confused. I should be very present, right? And then at the same time, I should also have vision and be future oriented. Like, how do you guys make those two ideas? They seem a little bit contradicting. How do you guys make those two ideas fit?
I have kind of two things about that. And one is related to what John said before about creating an emotional connection to the future. I think it's really, really important that we know what it feels like to want to do something. Otherwise, I'm someone who's very, and this is why I talked about emotional intelligence at TEDx, was because I'm someone who was just so logically intelligent and just had zero emotional intelligence. And And what I realized was that this actually made me fundamentally unproductive, because I could decide something cognitively, logically, that it was a good idea, that I should do it, but I couldn't make the decision because, what changed my mind is I read a book called How We Decide by John Alera, and he says decision making is an emotion. Like when you make a decision, that's a feeling. That doesn't happen in your conscious mind. So to understand that, to know that decision making is emotion, you have to actually bring the emotions into your decision making. And then the second thing I think is that the vision really needs to be not who you want to be in the future, but what you want the world to look like. So it's not because to truly live in the present, you have to, I think, let go of your ego a little bit. And one way to do that is to say, what do I want the world to look like without me in it? Like, if I disappeared tomorrow, but the world was perfect, like, what would it look like? And that, for me, is my vision. That's my vision, because that pulls me to a place in the future where it's completely egoless, it's selfless. I'm not there anymore, but there's some perfection in the universe without me, and that's really what drives me. It allows me to be present, kind of trying to create that state in a very kind of selfless way, which is what allows me to anchor into the present. Because I think that for me is very linked, that selflessness and the being able to be present. I think most traditions of meditation teach that as well. So
I have the courage, the decision part that you talked about, Josh, is when you said you make the decision and it's without ego. I think something that I kind of go by is the notion of courage. Because the actual word itself is derived from the Latin word, the French word cœur, which means heart in French. And so when you live through courage, you're living through your heart. And it's in that space of living through the heart where there's no ego, because you're just connected to the biggest truth, which is really love from your heart. And in that present moment, which is the only moment that really exists, because the future, we don't know it yet. It hasn't created itself yet, and the past is in the past. So the only thing that exists is the now. And when you live in the now courageously, I think that's when the most powerful magic happens.
Mm. Yeah, I'd also like to say, in response to that initial question, is I think there's a little bit of a problem with the phrase, just be yourself. And I think guys get a little bit trapped in that one, and I've got my own interpretation of that I want to share. I think it should be becoming yourself, because being yourself, I think it puts you into the passive, into your family, into your yin energy too much. But I think becoming is where it's like the mixture of yin and yang. It's the being is the presence, but it's also the coming, it's the arriving towards something at the same time. So even semantically within becoming, it actually helps me combine both of those energies of presence plus also going towards something. So that's how I kind of reframe that, and I always give that to my students as something as a mantra.
That's beautiful, John. Yeah, I think it's so important to also, it's this acceptance of change. If you say I'm going to be myself, it's like I'm static, but we're never static. We're always changing. So yeah, that's great.
I love that. I love that very much, and I would like to bring it a little bit up, because now we went very deep, very fast, right? So we went all about vision and about the meaning of life and presence and future orientation at the same time, yin and yang. What I think is a very practical tip is if you want to grow as a human being and bring it back to designing, quote unquote, the life of your dreams, is like build up a social group around you that supports, you called it your vision or your inner light as well. And I found that a very powerful tool, because I forgot about it for years. Like, I always tried to make it on my own. I always tried to get better, grow, and I never had really the social surrounding or the people around me that facilitated that. Well, I had it, but not to the extent as I have it right now. And I found out that this is such a catalyst for growth, for whatever you want to achieve in life, is that saying that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with most in your life. And I think that's a very, very powerful for me, that was one of the most powerful things to realize, is that you don't have to do it on your own. You can actually also like build up a social group that supports you at times when you feel like your vision or you're not motivated to do something or whatever it is. And at the same time also being able to, I had an interesting discussion a few days ago with a woman, and she said, well, I'm a high flyer, and I read all these books about these successful people. I don't need to pay anybody to help me, right? So I don't need to get coached. And I had to smile because I thought of like all the successful people that I know, and they always had coaches and mentors in their life. Like, I think it's so important to have like somebody that you feel is a little bit farther on the journey, and that from time to time you can go to for advice. It's for me, this is like also the second catalyst. First catalyst, have a social, have people around you that support your growth. And the second one goes very much into like have a mentor or have a coach that you can go to when there's trouble, or like already hang out with the people that already achieved what you want to achieve. Like pay for dinners with them, whatever you can do, like hang out with those people as much as you can, and it will kind of rub off. That's what I found for myself, is to, the more time I spend with amazing people, like you guys, the more I spend time with like people that are already have achieved a lot in their lives, in the sense that I feel like very connected to, or that are my goals, the more I grow myself. Which is not saying that we've all done it and we're like these super, not at all. I mean, we are scared. I'm scared on a day-to-day basis when I do a training, or when I do some challenges that I don't feel like doing. I think that's completely human, but I think it's cool to have people that in certain areas of their lives already have achieved something that you want to achieve, and you have them around you in some kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was there a question in that, Kai, or did you just?
Not at all. I'm just
allowing for the awkward silence.
Exactly. I love the awkward silence. You know.
Okay. Let's hold it out then. See who breaks first.
Layla did. So Layla, go ahead.
Oh, here we go. Well, no. What came to mind was also when you're living out of fear and you're trying to create the life that you want, you naturally almost exude a certain energy, and people are attracted to that. So you don't even have to go and pay for someone's dinner, you know, that you want to, that you are inspired by, because once you connect to that, understanding that this is my mission and I really want to create this, and this is the lifestyle I want to design for myself, people are automatically attracted to you because you found your passion in life. And I think that's one of the most attractive things about people, and it connects people of the same likes to one another. Yeah. So people just get drawn to you.
I totally agree. I'm constantly surprised by how much people who are so much further than me are willing to help me with receiving anything in return. You know, I can't possibly give them anything in return because there's you know, so much further than me. But somehow there's such generosity that comes from you know, their realization that life is about giving, and when they see, you know, how passionate we are, they're just willing to give and give and give. And
yeah, actually talking about giving, I just want to, if it's possible, do a shout out to someone that's actually talking at the Lifestyle Design Convention. He's a good friend of mine, John J.P. Morgan. So you guys who are watching this now, you can see him at the Lifestyle Design Convention in January. He's been like a, you know, he's like a brother of mine. He's a friend of mine. He's been a huge inspiration of mine, and his whole foundation of his work and his coaching is about giving. And he was probably one of the biggest influences that I've had in the last 2 years. And I just want to say thanks, John, if you're watching. So, you know, you've been a massive influence on me. And check him out, because his stuff is really, really spiritual, really is coming from a good heart-centered place. And he's a great guy and a great coach. So I just wanted to say that.
Completely agree. Guilty as well. Just been coached by John a few months ago, and it was transformational. He's a really, really cool guy. And he also helped me to get out of this state of mind of like taking, I need this lifestyle design convention to be filled with people, and reframe it to like, how can I make this the most awesome, inspiring event possible? And I think that helped so much, because it took so much like stress away. Like now I'm like really or I could focus more. It's never perfect, but I can now focus more on like, how can I make this event even better? How can I help more people to enjoy those 2 days? How can I do those free webinars for people so they can maybe learn a bit and join the discussion as well? So I think it's a very important thing, that you come from a place of giving instead of taking. Yeah. And yeah, like that, a lot of things happen. I think it's amazing what you said, Layla. Like, yeah, it's true that you don't even have to pay for dinners. I still think the combined approach is good. So if you have somebody and you want to hang out with them, like, do whatever you can to hang out with them. Yeah. And at the same time, I think it's very true. Like, people just get attracted if you create something in the world, and it has been just inspirational to see how many people wanted to help out with the event I'm doing right now, and it's just because I started. So it's just like a very good advice for me was always like the Nike one: just do it. Don't overthink it, as you, Josh, called it. Just go with the flow, go with your intuition instead of overthinking it. Right? Tap into your emotional intelligence. And just because mostly you know what the right thing is to do, and then you have this amazing idea under the shower and you think like, oh, this is great, and then your mind comes in, right, and it gives you all these excuses. You start thinking, well, I would love to do that, but this and this and this is not possible, and I don't have enough knowledge, and I'm not the best person on that, and I cannot do this, and probably this person will reject me if I ask them for help, and blah, 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 blah. And that is your mind talking, and if you start trusting that thing that happened before, right, that we call it the insights, or whatever you want to call it, or your being, and you just follow those ideas, and you just do it, even though you don't know how it will manifest. This is magic. This is absolute magic, because I wasn't sure at all that this lifestyle design convention will take place in the first, because it's just a new event, and now like people are signing up from all over the world, and it's just amazing. So I think just start doing something, man. Like, just start, and don't overthink it.
Very cool. That's an awesome story, Kai, because the event is really incredible, and it's just something that if you had said like I've never done this before, like, and I'm gonna try it, people would have said to you, that's crazy, but actually it's not that hard, and you figured it out, and you found the right people to help you, and that's exactly how you achieve anything in life. And if you think to yourself that I want to do this but I don't know how, then break it down, figure out what the steps are, and you notice that it's easier than you think.
Yeah, break it down to baby steps, and trust to whatever you don't know yet, it will come to you.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah.
I'm curious what the if the people watching have any questions for us. I know we've been talking about lots of different things, but I wonder.
We've been all over the place.
What did you guys think about when you saw this webinar, lifestyle design? What does that mean to you, and like, what did you want to learn coming here? I'm very curious, because I think there's a million things we could talk about. I wonder what you all are interested in.
Let's enjoy the awkward silence again. That's beautiful.
Whilst everyone's frantically typing.
Yeah, like.
My question first.
I was at a conference on Saturday. I think some people who were there are here attending, and I said to I had this awkward silence in the group. I was doing a workshop, and I just stopped and I asked them a question. I was just waiting for an answer, and I stood there for literally about 60 seconds, which is a long time when you're on stage, right? And then I just said, look, I'm very patient. Like, someone is going to ask a question, and I'll just wait. And you have to. So we can be patient.
Yeah, the thing is they can hide behind. We don't see them, so we cannot like. In trainings, I do that as well. It's actually a very powerful tool. Silence is amazing. It helped the first time when Layla started talking, but this time it didn't help that well. So.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right. I mean, yeah.
I was just kind of wondering. I think one of the things that comes to my mind when I think lifestyle design is the 4-hour work week. I think that's a book that many of us have read, and that has kind of put the idea of completely doing throwing sort of the socially accepted way of living your week or your year out the window, and living 4 hours a week from a backpack, and running a business from as a nomad. Which there's a lot of excitement in that, and I think a lot of people kind of come to it with the expectation like, yeah, wouldn't it be great if I could work for 4 hours a week and spend the rest of my time sitting on a beach sipping cocktails, and I was reading the book being like, I'm not sure, like that would be boring as hell. But then at the end, Tim Ferriss really gets to the heart of it, and he says, I've told you in this book how to do this, but actually what you'll find is you'll go on holiday for 3 weeks and then you'll start something else, because actually life isn't about being on holiday, it's about being passionate about what you do. And if you need to figure out your money situation so you can stop being stressed about it, so that you can do what you're passionate about, then do that. But I think it's easy also to convince ourselves that what we do for money and what we do for passion aren't the same thing. That we need some boring job to pay the bills so that we can do what we're really passionate about. I think that's a lie that's been told to us, and that's really quite damaging, because ultimately it's really not that difficult to combine those two things and to find the thing that you're passionate about that you can also get paid for. And that's the challenge, I think.
I mean, I would like to hear John's point of view, because you live a nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah.
I've seen you traveling the world now for a very long time, and at the same time earn your money with what you like doing is by connecting with people and helping people how to do that. So what's your take on that?
This is the first time that I've actually unpacked my suitcase for 3 years. Like I've actually I'm having a base for a little while, because I've just been traveling around for so long now, and it's possible. You can make these things happen. It's just a perception of the mind that makes you think that you have to live in a certain way and work to a system and get up at a certain time. I think that's just the way your mind works. But like for me, like I have expectations of an alternative lifestyle, and I'm just putting that together. And one thing that really helped me as a tangible thing is, I had the security job for a while because I needed that, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But as soon as I had a sort of an inkling into like a passion or some kind of drive in my life, I just set up a small little enterprise on the side, and I just worked on it on the weekend. I used Meetup.com at the time. Just built up a little bit of an audience on that, and then what happened was I'll start to do events for very, very small amount of money, free actually to begin with, then little crumbs of money, and then built it up, and then what was happening, it was starting to make more money than my security job, if you like, and then from that I was now earning money from the job that I really wanted to do, and I don't even consider it a job. It's just like, for me, like the work and play is the same thing. Like when people ask me what my hobby is, it's the same thing as my work, And I actually go, damn, I don't know what my hobbies are, because I put so much. This is so playful to me to do this kind of work that, like, it doesn't actually feel like a job, and it almost feels silly to say that. But so yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I've been traveling around, coaching guys remotely, and also getting guys to come and live with me, and I'll go and visit them. And yeah, it's a totally different way of living, and it's totally possible, I believe, as long as you, like Layla was saying, you have that inner light, you have an idea of something you'd like to create, and as Josh was saying, it's not just about what you can take, the perfect lifestyle in terms of like just drinking cocktails all day. Once you've done all that, once you've been on all the holidays that you could have, what would be your perfect excitement then? Like, what would you like to bring to the world in terms of, like, as a magician, to create and make it grow? And that is a much higher excitement than just drinking out of a coconut, I think. That lasts a certain amount of time, but once you find that true inner light, or whatever you want to call it, and you bring that to the world, it's almost like jumping into a jet stream. You find this whole new source of energy that you never knew you had, and like, yeah, you're like a magnet. You tend to draw all those types of people towards you. They help you grow, you help them grow, and the whole thing just escalates like that. And then as a byproduct, as a side effect to that, you live a cool lifestyle, because that's like the offshoot of doing this cool stuff, you know. So that's what I've been doing. I'm living in Budapest right now. It's the first time I've settled down for a while, but that's not to say that I might not go and travel some more. So
I know you will probably.
Yeah.
So I like the statement of one. It's very short, like, hey everyone, give value, don't overthink. And I think that's very true. Like a lot of people, or me included, man, I've been always thinking, what can I get from life? What should I do with my life? And it was always so centered around me. And our whole society works that, right? Even my convention is live the life of your dreams, right? And I think sometimes what you have to remind yourself is also, if you want to get into like, you could call it better vibration or whatever you want to call it, is just like start giving, start helping people. It really puts you in a better mindset, and the rest will come. Like because when you start giving, you will get better thoughts. You will be more positive, and by that you will manifest better things in your life. So I think that's a very important part of it. Then there was a question by Bogdan. I hope I said that correct. And he asked about what kind of meditation we refer to. And I think it's a beautiful story that John, you actually introduced me to Vipassana meditation. I remember your talk exactly at the 21 convention. You said, one of the top 3 things I did in my life was a Vipassana meditation retreat. You can find that on dhamma.org. I'm going to type that in here. And you said, of all those people here in this room, one person will do it. So I thought, fuck it, I will be that person. And I went on that 10-day retreat. And it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. Dhamma meditation is basically a meditation, it's simple, and probably the hardest one you can do is Dhamma meditation is sitting with yourself, meditating, and just focusing on body sensations. So you don't have an om, like you know it from other kind of meditation, but you actually just focus on that. And I think, Josh, you did one as well. So it's like spreading like a wildfire. It's also the peer group thing, right? Like the 5 people you surround yourself most with. So a lot of my people in my social circle is actually the thing that most people did in my social circle. Of the crazy things I did in my life was like doing that 10-day meditation retreat. You can book those meditation retreats. They're for 10 days. You will meditate for 9 hours a day straight. You will not talk to anybody. You're not holding eye contact with anybody for 10 days. You're trying to really like avoid that and just be with yourself. And it's beautiful and terrible and terrifying and amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I suggest to everyone, you might think it's crazy, but you should really do it. It is amazing. It will show you a lot of like your best sides and your worst sides about yourself. So it's thank you very much for the question, because I think it's a very important part.
Yeah, I want to say something about meditation as well, because I was very, very lucky, and I was taught meditation at the age of 12. So I've been doing meditation for a long, long time, and I did Vipassana this year. So after I'm 26, so that was 14 years after I learned originally meditation. So Vipassana is very powerful, and I think the reason it's powerful is not necessarily because the technique is amazing, but because of the structure. And the structure is it's completely free. They only take donations from people who have already done the course, right? So there's no commercial element to this at all. It's an international charity, and you go and you meditate for 10 days, and it's a zero information diet. You don't talk to anyone. You don't bring anything with you. You don't have any books. You don't do any writing. You don't do any thinking in those 10 days, and you just meditate. And you do it. It's similar to Buddhist meditation, but the key is really the 10 days of uninterrupted meditation. And I think the 2 other techniques I've learned is that originally I learned something that's similar to transcendental meditation, which is, as Kai said, with an om, and it's with a mantra that you repeat over and over again in your mind to try and clear your mind that way. And I also learned mindfulness meditation many years ago, which is one of the Buddhist types of meditation. and actually Vipassana has it as well, and they call it Anapana meditation, which is mindful breathing meditation. And those are good too. But I think the Vipassana itself, which is focusing on the sensations on the body, that is very powerful. And if you do it for 9 days, then you're gonna reach a new state of awareness. And that's what happened to me. My mind became laser sharp after those 10 days. So I can recommend that. I'm curious what kind of meditation you have done, Layla.
Well, I just got back actually from Plum Village. It's a Zen Buddhist monastery in next to Bordeaux, France. And there's a few sister monasteries around the world, actually. It was started by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's actually right now not doing very well. So I'm sending him lots of love, and I hope he makes it. But he was the one of the main speakers of peace during the Vietnam War, and he left out of Vietnam, and he toured the world preaching peace, and then they exiled him, and then he was forced to set up camp somewhere else in the world, which is why he then created Plum Village, and then different offshoots opened up around the world. But my experience with meditation started about 2 years ago, and I had done different types. I had tried different ones, but never very intensely. And I just got to the point, it was after a year of just trying to figure out what on earth I was doing and what I wanted to do. And so I finally said, okay, I'm just going to create my own meditation retreat right here, right now, in my own home. And I created this 3-month program for myself where I got up every morning. I did a half hour of morning writing, and then a half hour of morning meditation, and then another half hour of just writing free form after meditation thoughts. And at the end of those 3 months, as you said, Josh, you just reach a higher state of consciousness. And the actual meditation that I did was literally just sitting there and connecting to source, or whatever you want to call it, but just focusing on my third eye chakra and clearing all the thoughts that kept coming to my head, and getting into a state of mindfulness where you just let whatever comes go, and you're just with yourself in silence, and try to keep in that state of silence and mindfulness for as long as possible. So that's been my experience, but and then Plum Village was a whole other really beautiful experience. It was just mindfulness meditation as well.
Okay, cool.
I think we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. That was my thought. We're connected, my friend. The thing is, what I would like to see your thoughts on, like flashback. Jana wrote, flashback, not every kind of giving is the same, I think. In the past, I've sometimes overgiven to the point where nothing remained and my inner fire just petered out. I needed to learn where to give, when and how. Still struggling with that occasionally.
I really wanted to answer that one, but I'll go second then.
You go first, my friend.
Is that all right? No, because I was looking at that as you guys were talking, and I really wanted to answer that.
Yeah.
Can I read it out? So for the sake of the video, is that cool? Yeah, I'll read it out, because when on the playback, people can hear the question, right?
I just read it out now.
You did?
Yeah. I just.
Oh, okay. You just paraphrased it, did you? Okay. So in terms of giving to the point where your fire goes out, I would say that remember, asking for help or being able to receive is a form of giving. So I can ask, let's say, my best friend to play me my favorite song. Okay. Now that looks like I'm taking from it. It's not. I'm giving him the platform to play. So I'm actually asking for him to do something for me. If I'm saying to my mum, I want her to cook me. Mum, can you cook me that famous Lancashire hot pot? That's a gift, because I'm giving, but I'm also being able to receive from that. If you're just giving to the point where you're not able to sustain yourself, you're not putting yourself into a position of receiver, and you're actually denying other people from giving back to you. So it's not just about going out there and altruistically giving to the point where you're exhausted. I mean that is a good thing to foster, going out and being outward orientated. That's obviously a good thing to do. But at the same time, you requiring your assistance from your fellow man, fellow woman, that is also a gift. And if you can see that giving and receiving is actually two heads of the same coin, then you can actually come from both of those energies, and actually you wouldn't exhaust yourself so much.
I love this, my friend. I love it. I heard it in the last webinar, and I couldn't agree more. And I also think, like, this might sound strange, but I think if you give to a point where you're burned out, I think it's also coming kind of from a place of fear, like the fear of, like, if I'm not giving, like, people will not like me anymore. So you have to be very careful and always ask yourself, am I giving because I'm scared that people will not like me? So am I doing it to please people, or am I actually giving because I want to give? So that's always, for me, that was like, I was a people pleaser, still am sometimes. And I always ask myself now, like, am I giving because I'm scared that somebody wouldn't like me if I wouldn't give, or am I actually giving because I feel like giving? So that helped me quite a lot in like, especially when you're a person that gives or feels like they give too much. That is, for me, it was always asking myself, is it coming from a place of fear or abundance? And if it was from a place of fear, I asked myself again, do I really want it? Because sometimes also saying no is giving, because you show a person your true self, your full self, and if you would just give for the sake of pleasing people, it will be actually lying to them, and in a strange way also taking from them, because you just want their love, right?
Yeah. So deep down on a core intention, when it appears like you're giving, you're actually taking. See, I break giving down into two layers. You've got the mechanical level and you've got the intentional level. Okay, so I can go into a bar and I can buy a girl drinks all night, but is my intention there, I'm just giving it and I don't want anything back? Or am I buying this girl a drink because I want to buy some of her time, I want to buy some affection right now? So I'd say that, you know, it's not really the mechanical level of what we do in terms of like giving out stuff from this level. It's about the intention behind it. Am I doing it because it's this overflowing, infinite source of giving where I don't actually need anything back? Or am I doing this because on a certain level I'm keeping score and I want something back later on down the line? And if that comes up for you, then you need to check in with yourself and say, why am I doing that? Why am I feigning giving in order to get something back? And that's the point. That's the time when all the meditative work really comes in, and you can check in with what's going on inside you. Because often I call it this. It's the difference between filling a hole and feeling whole. Again, there's a nice little wordplay. But it's, you know, when people do bring their actions to people, often it's because they're trying to fill a hole. But if you can reach the point where your actions come from fulfillment, come from self-containment, that's true giving, and then you can just carry that stuff on forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly giving.
Wholeheartedly, thank you.
Like a real social artist. Very good.
Social artist.
We got to 1 hour. I'm happy to continue this conversation if you guys are up for it. I just wanted to briefly tell people, if they feel like they want to hear us all live, and at the same time they want to spend 2 days with what I would call an amazing peer group, because these gonna be all motivated people who hang out at the Lifestyle Design Convention. I have a little offer here. You can see all the details about the event on your right side now. It should appear magically, and you can click on it and you will see all the details. It's on 10th and 11th of January 2015. It's called the Lifestyle Design Convention, and it's basically, my goal was to get as many inspired and inspirational people together as possible and just have a party, like a big blast where we have a lot of talks, a lot of workshops as well. And my main point was not only to have the speakers talk to you, but you can actually connect with like-minded people, because a lot of times I feel it's quite lonely to aspire for more, to aspire for personal growth. People will make fun of you for meditation and all that stuff, and sometimes it's really cool to have like-minded people around you. So I put that event together. Click on it if you feel like it. There's all the ticket prices and stuff. It will be in Zurich, in Switzerland. We have people from all over the place, people from the US flying in, which is really cool, and also a lot of people from Europe. I'm still waiting for the guys from Africa and Russia, so please sign up as well. Would be amazing. And yeah, that's just about the little offer we have. And now I will, John Cooper added draw. I see you.
Oh, I don't know, get rid of it now.
Which is completely all right. I want to go into one other thing, a question that Louis R. asked, and he said, I don't know how many times I have failed to grab onto opportunities with the excuse that there wasn't enough security or certainty for outcomes to provide me what I was looking for. The possibility of getting sidetracked was paralyzing. Any ideas on how to reduce the negative impact of this, especially when there is various different options where all are interesting but none appear exactly right? I think that's one for Josh somehow, I feel.
You know, it's a great question. I was looking at it before as well, and I think the question that I ask myself is it worse for me to choose nothing than to close my eyes and pick one at random? And if it is, then close your eyes and pick one at random. Because if you can't make that decision consciously, then it just doesn't matter. They're obviously so similar that it just doesn't matter which one you pick. Pick one of them. If picking none is worse. And oftentimes what will happen is you'll think to yourself, yeah, but later on they're going to be different. Like, I don't know how they'll be different now, but later on, and that's, you have to accept that. That's just risk. Like, you know, like if you invest in a stock, it's going to go up or it's going to go down, and there's a lot of unpredictability, and you can't tell which way it's going to go. So you don't weigh that in now. So if you make a decision, you don't weigh what you don't know into the decision. You can't. And I think you know, it kind of comes back also to what we were saying before. Like, there's all of these are interesting options, but none of them seem exactly right. Well, pick one and then keep figuring out what seems exactly right. Keep working on it. That's going to come eventually, but don't hold yourself short, or don't hold yourself back because it doesn't seem exactly right. It's the worst thing you can do, because then you're going to do what's exactly wrong instead of...
Oh, man, absolutely, man. So many ideas play into it. Perfectionism. I want to do exactly the right thing. I need to go on the... I'm not sure, is it that or that? And you actually get caught up in thinking, overthinking, overanalyzing. And man, if somebody knows how to overanalyze, it's me. And it's just like, I really teach myself every day, just do it. Again, we're back, just take the decision, try out. And again, JP Morgan said it best. Passion is not found, it is created. It is an active process. You go there by trying different things and see what fits more, see what fits less, and then you will find, like a river, you will find you will find yourself getting closer and closer to your vision, step by step by step. And it's not done just internally in your thoughts, which a lot of people do. It's actually a big part of it is taking action, taking a lot of action, and sometimes it's the right one and sometimes it's not the right one, and that's the way it goes. Nobody's perfect, right? Cool.
Yes.
Now we have the awkward silence again. I love it.
I blame the presenter.
There was another question by Chris. He said, I'm having trouble discerning the things I really want from the things which are imposed from society. For example, going to university. I feel like I want to do some academic studies, but somehow deep inside of me there is a voice saying, man, you don't really need to spend 5 years of learning academia stagnating in one place. You already know most of what you need, and the rest you'll find right on your path. What's your opinion on this dilemma?
Again, I think John said it very well. He said you answered already your own question by actually saying I don't want to go to university. Well, then don't. Just simply don't. If you don't feel like it. It sounds like, yeah, you can say that, right? And at the same time, don't stress yourself too much. If it is not a definite decision and you will have to sit there for 5 years, maybe some other chances come up on the way. I mean, a lot of people say that, well, I want to design the life of my dreams, so I have to quit my job, I have to quit my education right now, and I have to do everything, and it's so scary I'm not going to do it, right? So that's the picture a lot of people have, which is not the case. You can do it step by step. If you're not the complete transformation guy, at least do baby steps, but do something. That's really important. So for me, I'm like I could see it as well. Like I don't feel like quitting a job altogether instantly, since I love also my current job that I have. So why do you have to do it like so extreme? Just go step by step. If you feel like you want to do another project, maybe don't study full time, study 50% like part time, and on the side you do your project, and maybe your project becomes bigger and bigger and more important, and then you think like, well, I stop studying then, or maybe your studies are fucking amazing, and then you will stop your project. But don't overthink it. Do it, and everything else will come up. So
to add to what you said as well, don't burn out before you start. And there's a documentary I actually just watched. It's called Ivory Towers, and it's all about the university industry and history. So to Chris, I recommend maybe watch that documentary. It's called Ivory Towers, and maybe it will give you some insight. But yeah, definitely. One thing that I can share on this subject as well is that Jonathan Fields, from the Good Life Project, he used to say, just go, like, leave your job, leave your day job, and just start, like, just do it. And he later on backtracked and said, you know, I don't know if I feel that way anymore, because sometimes some people really need the financial support from the day job. And so if you have a vision, a mission, an idea that you want to start, and you don't just want to, you know, as you were saying, Kai, just stop everything and then just start. Just stay and start working and shifting things around to where you can start creating it after work, or working on it on the weekends, and just creating a workable plan towards what you really want to create.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to say two things about this, and I'm going to throw a couple of spanners in the works, make this whole lot more complicated, because there's two things. One is about studying. There's a lot of kind of negativity, I think, around universities, and I think that is justified. I spent 5.5 years doing my bachelor's degree, and I dropped out in between, and it was a very painful experience. And so I have a lot of animosity towards universities, and yet what I've realized is that my passion, my work, what my life is about ideas and about concepts. And so I've made a decision to go back to university and get a master's degree and a PhD, because it's part of who I am, is to be an ideas generator, and university is a place where ideas are generated. So there's that positive aspect of it as well. But there's also a lot of bureaucracy, and a lot of it is totally broken. And someone that talks about this a lot is Seth Godin, and he's got a great book called Stop Stealing Dreams, What is School For? And he asks some really difficult questions about education and what we're doing to young people in the education process. And I think it's a huge mistake to go to university without knowing what you want to get out of it. And that's the mistake that I made. And if I'm going to go back, I know it's going to be different, because I have an intention for it. I know where it's going to lead me. And if you don't know, then you're better off spending your time and money traveling, because you're going to learn more traveling than you are at university without an intention, I think. Because I think it can help you explore. It can help you explore, but if you want to explore, then traveling is also a great way to explore, and probably better. Whereas exploring at university is very expensive and very time consuming. So. But another place where I want to throw a spanner in the works is this idea of passion and working on your passion. I think a colleague of mine it said something really interesting to me, and it really got me thinking. He said, I work as a system engineer. I'm a hardware engineer, but what I'm really passionate about is programming. And I asked him, okay, so like, why don't you just do programming full time? Like, you could do it, right? And he said, yeah, but then I wouldn't love it anymore. If I was paid to do it, like, I would start hating it, because I'd be forced to do stuff that I don't want. And I think that's really important. Do not take something that you're passionate in, kind of like, and try and fit it in a box that gets you paid, because you may lose the passion. So. And Seth Godin has a really good thing. He sort of talks about this. He says, if you have your calling, the thing that you want to do, the thing that you want to spend your time on, if that's not going to make money, that's fine. It doesn't have to make money. Like, life isn't just about money, and if you can find a way to make money with some other things that you're also a little bit passionate about, or even very passionate about, but there's something that you want to do that you're extremely passionate about, but it's never going to make you any money, fuck it, just do it. That's awesome. Like, create art. And keep creating art, because that's what humanity, being a human being, is about, creating art. So it's a really important realization as well.
And actually, I want to add something to that, because when I was like 18, 19, 20, I refused to go to university because everyone I felt from college went there because they felt that was the next step, that was the next rung on the ladder. They didn't really know what to do, but they were kind of like, they felt as though that was the next step, went from school to college to university, then get into the job, and they just started following this. I don't believe that I have to be, part of this, this prescribed reality here. I stepped out of it. But then when I was 25, I decided to go to university, but my intention had changed completely. I now knew what university was about. I knew it wasn't just going to be, spoon-fed to me. I was there, and I wanted to use it as a platform to sort of step up, in my life. And I went there, and to be honest, for the first year, I mean, I'd picked a really arty course. It was called Contemporary Creative Practice. And, I did it for a while, and the way that I was actually getting through, it felt like I was getting through it for the first year and a half, and I was just about getting through the briefs, and I felt like I was just doing enough to survive and get my grade and pass through. And then in the final year, I thought to myself, well, no, what is art? When you break it down, what is art? And I realized it's visual communication at a basic level. And so I thought to myself, what do I want to communicate to the world here? What am I angry about? What am I passionate about? What really upsets me? So what I did is I sort of like took a whole new angle with it, and I went really maverick. And instead of trying to like tick the boxes, what I did is I was out on the streets, I was hijacking bus stops, I was like bullying people on the streets in order to show a bullying message. I was, I was getting arrested. I was on the motorway holding up signs on the motorway. And in the end, I went from just a guy who was just ticking the boxes to, like the highest grade and winning awards by the end. And that was all because I just went, screw the system. I just want to express myself completely. And if you like it, great. If you don't, it doesn't matter. And it was that made me the artist. Anything other than that, I wasn't the artist. So it was only when I just thought, you know what, I'm going to bring this to the world, and screw you if you don't like it. And actually, that attitude, in a way, is what made me succeed.
Mm-hmm. Seth Godin defines art as connections, creating connections. I think that's, you're saying communication. I think that's the same thing, really. It's about creating connection. And he says also that you can't, you don't want everyone to be your audience. Like, even if you're a mass marketer, you don't want everyone to be your audience, because some people will hate it. So don't stop making it for them. Make it for the people who are going to love it, and just make it for those people. And if other people see it and they hate it, that's fine. It's not for them. It's for your audience. And that's a good realization too, because we can spend so much time worrying about what people think of us when we should just ignore those people and care about the people, like the people that are your friends, the people that you like the three of you. If you told me, gave me some feedback after this and said, maybe this, you could have changed this, you made it better, I would listen to that. But if some random stranger comes up to me, probably not, because it's about who do I actually want to create that connection with.
Absolutely, and I've also seen that the feedback was harder for me to accept before, when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do with my life sounds strange, but what I wanted to do with the next few years, I got like feedback from people, and it completely threw me off because I wasn't sure where my journey goes. So it also helps you with that. So like, criticism isn't that bad anymore. It's actually just helping you, and like you will find out like which people that are like on a similar path, they can actually help you with that. I saw like a lot of questions, and I think one was for John as well, is from Tiu. Have you seen that one?
I can't. Do you know what? I've got a flashing screen now because I went to hit draw, the app for draw, because I was going to do funny.
Okay, so I will read it for you.
Just line things up, and I've got this flashing hypnotic lifestyle design convention thing coming at me. Maybe it's your way of getting people to sign up, but
I hope it's not everywhere like that.
I've lost the screen. You're going to have to read it out.
All right. So Tiu asked, any ideas about how to become wholehearted instead of feeling like we have a hole inside of us that needs to be filled? I think you partly answered that already, but I mean, you can maybe briefly go into it again.
That's quite a deep. That's quite a. It would take me a while to answer that to the full
That's
length
why I
I
said
want
briefly.
to. But let's go briefly on this one. So one aspect is the external, which is actually you going out into the world and actually giving without need for reciprocity, without need to get anything back. Because what that does, it tends to fit. If you can give unconditionally, then you're telling yourself on an unconscious level that, oh, I'm okay, I'm fulfilled, I don't need anything. So it can work from the outside in. Okay, that's one thing. It's the same thing as if you put a pencil in your mouth. It forces you to smile, and then on some level you actually your mood starts to improve, because there's that neurological association with smiling and being happy. So from the outside world to inwards, that works. Also, doing the internal work. So we've mentioned about Vipassana, meditation work. That's all a form of actually reaching a place where you feel more fulfilled and contained on the inside. So I call that being autonomous. So that's one of my core principles that I teach, is how to reach a point where you don't need anything. You can actually just go into the world from a place of non-neediness and fulfillment, and then the energy that you give off from that is a whole different. It creates so many different things in your life. Stuff starts to reorder itself around you. So I would say focus on those two things. One is reaching a place of even in your lifestyle where you feel fulfilled already without having to need anything. And notice how I say the word need. It's almost like a survival instinct. You don't need so much to survive, but people attach need to a lot of things, and that's when they suffer. So this is meant to be brief, but I'm quite passionate about this. So one thing is, going out into the world and giving. The other thing is working inwards on reaching a place of wholeness. So meditation is very good, and also your lifestyle. So building up so you feel you've got this energy about you. You're on your mission. You're on your path, and that combined is what makes you kind of come from that wholehearted energy.
Absolutely, realizing that there's an external part that you can do and also an internal part, and both are very important.
Yes.
The thinking, or let's say the being, and also the manifestation of that by taking action, I think, is a very important part. And I see a lot of times with myself as well is that sometimes you focus on the one more and then you focus on the other more. As long as you do both to a certain degree, you will come closer to whatever you want to achieve. I'm looking forward so much to see you all in person, man. I just wanted to share that with you. It's really cool. Like, just imagine 2 days having discussions like this. It will be, I will say, mindfuck. It will be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward. Yes, Josh.
Kai, sorry, man. I was just going to say one more thing that really, really helped me, and I think it'd be a waste not to say it.
Yes, please.
There's a lot of focus on self-development, but I'd like to bring this idea to people. Start focusing on self-exploration. That's it, because basically instead of just always looking outwards, sometimes look inwards, because we have our own Wikipedia inside of us, and once we can sort of work through that, then actually the world starts to change around us. So focus, yes, self-development, but self-exploration for me is where I made the biggest shift.
Cool.
That's it.
If I can add to that too, is it's like going and igniting yourself, like getting lit up by the inner exploration and igniting that inner light.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll add something as well, which is kind of maybe even the counterpoint to what Layla's just said, which is embrace the inner dark as well.
Yes.
One of the things to let your unconscious mind out and live fully with your whole mind integrated, you need to accept sometimes that stuff is going to come out that you necessarily won't like that much, and being okay with that. It's a little bit about self-acceptance. So if you are going to be truly fulfilled as a human being, you need to allow yourself to also not be perfect and to have a dark side, and to just let that out sometimes, and to, I tell myself a lot now, let your unconscious mind through and just live through your unconscious mind. Stop thinking about things so much, and when you just let go like that, and you just say, like, let come what may, let me just connect to the world in a seamless way, without my conscious mind always filtering and interrupting and making decisions about how I look and all these other stuff, then I'm able to be present, and I'm able to actually enjoy my life. And I think that's what it's all about.
And accepting that it won't work out perfectly every time, like that you will always fall back into it. You will always fall back into what are other people think, what will they think of me if I do this and this. But that's what I said at the beginning. Life is a journey. So like step by step by step, you will feel that you care less and less and less what the opinion of other people are, and you start more and more like coming from a place of giving and just giving your gift to the world instead of focusing on making a good impression to the world, which will ultimately lead to you being unfulfilled and not being able to live your full potential and give your complete gift out of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. And actually, there's someone said this to me as well, and I think this is quite powerful. You not bringing your gift to the world, you not finding out what that inner light is, whatever you want to call it, and actually bringing that to other people. You're actually not only denying yourself, but you're denying others. So it's selfish not to do this. So when people say, "Oh, wouldn't it be selfish if I just focused on my passion and wouldn't be part of this system?" But in actual fact, there's a tribe waiting for you to show up, because that's going to, awaken them. So there's a whole tribe of people waiting for you to find that gift that you have, that it's only very, very unique to you. No one else has that gift, and for you to bring that. And if you don't, then you're actually denying others. And that, when I heard that, I was like, wow, okay, I've got to show up now. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost like a positive obligation, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I think we'll wrap it up here, if that's okay for you. I think we have to do this again. That was a lot of fun. I think from the comments that I've seen on the site, people liked it quite a lot as well. So that's really cool. And we'll try to set it. I will have a few webinars coming the next week with different coaches. So stay tuned. If you signed up for this, you will be on the newsletter and you will get a lot of value for free. Yeah, guys, in the end of this webinar, I will forcefully redirect you to the Lifestyle Design Convention webpage on purpose, so you can have a look. And yeah, if you guys want to add something to say bye-bye to the people.
Yeah, I just want to say, did you get the idea for the logo from the design convention from the Thundercats logo?
I don't know. I will look into
if people want to have a look at the Thundercats logo, because I'm an 80s boy, there's something about the Thundercats logo and your logo looks the same.
Okay. How inspirational is that? Perfect.
But can I do a plug? Can I just say, if anyone wants to check out what I'm doing in this community, of trying to bring men and women closer together and come from this place of co-creation as opposed to acquisition, pickup, in other words, thejohncooper.net. And if you want to join the Facebook group, it's facebook.com/groups/The John Cooper, welcoming all contributions of stories, anecdotes, support of the mission that I'm trying to do. I'd really appreciate it, men and women. So that's what I'd like to do. Thanks.
Can you put it in the chat as well?
Yes. So well, I can't because my chat is gone.
All right. So I will do that. Like, even if people want to get that link, even after the webinar, the chat will be online, and I will type it in there for you, John. So no problem.
Thanks,
we'll do that after. Yes. Josh?
All right. Well, I'm just really looking forward to the Lifestyle Design Convention. You all will be there. I think some of the people in the chat who are watching have already signed up. Looking really forward to meet you guys. I think that's, Kai said at the beginning, there is it's sometimes difficult to find the people that you really connect with that can be your journey, your fellows on the journey, that you can share this path with. And I think that's really, really important to have those people. So I'm sure that you'll find some people, and I think I'll find some more people like that as well there. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. And it's I mean, I don't know for anyone that's watching, but this is the first call we all had, and this is the first time we all interacted. So it's been a pleasure, you guys.
Very cool. Okay, guys, if you want to continue chatting, that Hangout is not over. It's just like the video feed will stop. So please stay in the chat, and you will see you can still ask questions. I'm sure I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit. I'm gonna redirect you guys now to the website. It's gonna open in a new tab of your browser magically. I hope it will do so. And yeah, it was a pleasure to answer your questions. It was a pleasure to have also your thoughts. I think they were very inspirational. And yeah, we're gonna do that soon. So yeah, I just wish you all the best, guys. Bye-bye.